Welcome to the Feed Your Family Tonight podcast. Do you dread hearing the question, what's for dinner? Whether you spend your days keeping up with toddlers, running kids to after-school activities, or juggling a career and family, getting dinner on the table can be a struggle for us all. I'm Mariefiebach, a business owner, wife, and mom of 4. I'm on a mission to build stronger families one dinner at a time, and I'm here with tips, tricks, and inspiration you need to feed your family tonight. Hello, friends. Welcome to the Feed Your Family Tonight podcast, episode 151. I'm your host, Mariefiebach, and I'm so happy to be here with you today. Today, we are going to talk about how now is the time to get your kitchen and pantry ready for the fall and winter. I live in Kansas, and this week we're getting our first little taste of fall weather. And that means we're going to have a couple of days where it's going to get into the 70s, but then by the end of the week, it's going to be back up into the 90s. And we affectionately call this season Fummer, fall and summer. It is chilly in the mornings and you often need a jacket. And by the afternoon, it's 90 degrees and you're peeling off all the layers. And this season, it's weird to dress in because you don't know how to dress for the fall and the summer. But it also means that now is the time to start getting your kitchen and pantry ready. As the seasons change, our tastes in food often change. When I go out and give live presentations, I usually do it in a workshop style. And part of the workshop is having all of the participants take 5 minutes and do a brain dump of all of the meals that they are currently making. Their family will eat with a reasonable amount of liking. It doesn't mean everybody in the family will like it, but it means that it's enough of a win that they will make it for their family on a regular basis. And within 5 minutes, most people have 15 to 30 meals that they can just dump out. But then I talk about how that is the meals that you have for the current season that we're in. And that document will continue to grow and expand for an entire year when you get through the transition from spring into summer and this transition from summer into fall and fall into the dead of winter. The kinds of foods that you naturally make usually change. I don't know about you, but I grill in the winter, but not a lot. Certainly not as much as I do in the summer. We're not making things like burgers on a regular basis. But then I'm also not making chicken pot pie in July because I don't feel like having the oven on. And something as heavy as chicken pot pie just doesn't sound as good in the summer as it does in the fall. One of my daughters has been begging for chicken pot pie. And so on these first cooler days, I added it to the meal plan because I know that she'll be really excited to have the first chicken pot pie of the fall, even though we're still kind of in this transition from fall into summer. But as we transition, our brains are thinking about new foods. In the summer, there's lots of salads and fresh garden vegetables and cucumbers and tomatoes and lots of things on the grill. And then in the fall, we're thinking about soups and we're thinking about stews. We're thinking about things like chicken pot pie and tater tot casseroles, things that are cooked in the oven, things like roast that take a long time to cook in the oven. While the summer, it's a lot of fast, quick, easy, lighter meals. And what that means is that we need to get our kitchen and pantries ready during this transition time. What that means for you is now is the time to go through your pantry, go through your freezer, and start eating up those foods that are more exclusively, quote unquote, summer foods, because you're still having a few hot days. And so it's fine to cook burgers or grilled chicken on those hotter days, even if it's chilly in the morning. But you want to get your freezer cleaned out of those things that are exclusively summer meals. If you look in your pantry or your freezer and you think, I am not going to want to have that the week before Christmas in the dead of winter, then it's probably something that you need to start adding to your meal plan now. If you don't have my free weekly meal planning sheet, go to feedyourfamilytonight.com/plan, get your free download of that and add it to your meal plan for this week or the next couple of weeks so that you get those foods eaten up. When you go through your pantries, there's a couple of things that you want to look for. The first thing is you want to look for foods that your family does not prefer. Maybe you bought a bag of stir-fry vegetables from the freezer and it turns out it had mushrooms in it and your family's like, I'm not even going to eat it if it touched mushrooms, then that's something that you need to either eat up or pass on to a friend that might like the mushrooms. Or maybe you go down to your pantry and you realize you have 6 bottles of Catalina salad dressing and you're the only person in the family who likes Catalina salad dressing, and you know there's no way between now and December you're going to eat up 6 bottles of Catalina salad dressing. Maybe save 1 or 2 of those bottles, and the extra 4 you can donate or you can give away. It doesn't matter what you do, but I give you permission to let go of those things that your family does not prefer, because if you keep them in your pantry and you're knocking them around, they're going to take up a lot of brain space and they're going to give you that feeling of guilt. We all do not want to waste food, and that's why I recommend whenever possible to share it with a friend or donate it. In our neighborhood, we have this wonderful thing called Paxton's Blessings Box. This box is kind of like a little free library. It's a little box that's out in front of someone's house. It's kind of up on a pole, kind of like a mailbox would be. And it has shelves inside. It's not super, super big, but it says, leave a blessing, take a blessing if you need it. I am in the habit of anytime I go to the grocery store, I usually pick up an extra jar of peanut butter and I take it and I drop it off in the blessing box. And so I kind of watch what comes in and out of the blessing box on a weekly basis. And sometimes there's some really odd things in there. But you know what? They always get taken. So if there's something that your family doesn't like, see if there's something like a blessing box close to you or a charity that will take it. But let it go out of your life and let it bless someone else. Because if it's sitting in your house and just making you feel guilty all the time that you wish your family would eat the Catalina dressing, or you wish your family would eat the vegetables with the mushrooms, now don't put those in a blessings box. Share those with a friend because they're perishable. But if you wish your family would eat that and they won't, it's going to bother you and it's going to cause a little bit of angst every time you go to your pantry. So I'm giving you permission to get rid of the things that you know your family does not prefer. Get them out of your life so that you have space for new things. After you've gone through your pantry, you want to go through your freezer and you want to see if there are foods that you eat mainly in the summer that won't sound good in the middle of December. Now is the time. Again, add them to your meal plan and get them out of your freezer. I make a lot of hamburger patties at the beginning of the summer, and we eat grilled hamburgers. I have a recipe for make-ahead hamburger patties that is just wonderful. I'll link to it in the show notes. And I make giant batches of those, and I keep them in the freezer. I was going through the freezer this past week, and I found one lonely hamburger patty. And all those times that we had made hamburgers, I ended up with one odd patty that was just floating around my freezer in a baggie. And so I actually added burgers to my meal plan this week on Sunday, which means I'm going to have to make some fresh hamburgers to go along with this one lonely frozen hamburger patty, but I'm going to get that hamburger patty out of my life. Another thing that I find in my freezer are little odds and ends and bits and pieces of food that I didn't want to go to waste. Right now in my freezer, I have a little bit of enchilada sauce. I've got some random meatballs. I've got a few baggies of frozen pasta, and I am planning on adding those to my lunches over the next week or so that I'm getting all those little odd bits out of my freezer, and I know that everything in there is ready to go and ready for the winter, for a new season. Once you've kind of cleaned out and purged out your pantry and kind of cleaned out and purged out your freezer, now you are starting to get ready and plan for the fall. You may want to do a deep dive grocery shopping trip. I talk about how to do a deep dive grocery shopping trip in episode 99. I like to do one of these in September because it's that transitional time. I'm done with the summer foods. I'm getting ready to get ready for the fall and winter. And during my deep dive grocery shopping trip in September, I am stocking up for the kinds of foods that my family likes to eat in the fall and winter. That means I am buying at least a case of canned crushed tomatoes. because we use them for chili and we use them for all sorts of kinds of baked pastas that we have in the fall and winter. I'm going to buy a couple of packages of puff pastry so that I can make chicken pot pie. My recipe for cheddar pot pie, it's actually a turkey pot pie with leftover turkey, but you could totally use chicken. I'll link to that in the show notes. But I have the puff pastry. I love tater tot casserole. My kids love tater tot casserole. That recipe I'll link to. But the tater tot casserole, I'm going to buy a couple of bags of tater tots and have those in the freezer ready to go. And with the tater tot casserole, I usually use a certain kind of mixed veggies. And so I'm going to buy a couple of bags of those mixed veggies to add to the tater tot casserole. And I'm going to get my pantry and my freezer set up for fall. The last thing that I want to talk about of getting ready for fall and kind of purging the old and getting ready for the new is to look at your spice cabinet. Go through your spice cabinet, and if you don't know how long something has been in your spice cabinet, it's likely that it's been in there too long. We all keep our spices way, way, way too long. Take a sniff. If it doesn't smell fragrant, I give you permission to toss it and let it go. Clean out the little odds and ends in your spice cabinet, and then take stock of what kind of spices do you use in the fall and winter. In the fall and winter, I go heavy on the chili powder and the cumin, the onion powder, and the garlic powder. I'm always using hot red pepper flakes because those add a little kick without making my kids say everything is too spicy. And I usually use a little bit of curry, especially when I'm making like a pumpkin soup. I've got a curried pumpkin soup up on the website that is delicious. Start thinking about what kinds of spices that you use. Lately, I've been getting a lot of my spices from the Spice House. They have these great little bags that come with free shipping, so you don't have to pay for shipping if you order them in the bags. I'm not sponsored by them at all, but I've found that their spices are really high quality and they're super easy to order and the shipping's free, and I've been really happy with them. If you are with the Spice House, I'm always open to sponsorship, but that's neither here nor there at this point. Look at the spices that you need to add to your list and get them for the fall. Friends, this season of Fummer is a great time. It's almost like spring cleaning, but to get yourself ready for the coziness of the fall. You might even look at, where are you set on like your teas and your hot cocoa mixes and your coffees? What kinds of drinks do you like to have in the fall? And add those to your deep dive grocery shopping list. Make sure that you clean out your things from the summer. Maybe you're having less of the iced tea and you're moving more into the hot tea. I don't know what kinds of drinks you like to have in the summer, but we have a lot of flavored waters in the summers, and then we'll move to more hot teas and things in the winter. So that's something else that I'm going to be stocking up. This episode's a little bit shorter than usual, but that gives you time to go to your pantries and go to your freezers, clean them out, eat up those foods so that you're not trying to eat grilled hamburgers in the dead of winter and you really don't want to grill in the snow, and that you have room for more of the foods that you like to eat in the fall. I can't wait to talk with you again next week. For now, friends,